On this episode of the John 1911 podcast, H&K goes blackout. Is the government spying on Trump? Wilson Combat releases Vaporware. And getting your hoplite on 21st century style. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 56 of the John 1911 podcast. How was your night, Freeze?
Crazy busy.
Crazy busy?
Yeah.
Well, it's all, it's the first of the, where you're beyond the hump of the first of the month, so things have slowed down a little bit in the ghetto, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's warm.
I guess you gotta accept the fact that summer's coming.
It's warm. It didn't really start raining till about 6, and all the meth heads are winding down and going to bed by 6. So
Yeah. So we were just talking and off pod for that's my new phrase, off pod, for about 30 seconds, and I was like, wait, we're just gonna turn on the microphone. We both have these. We both have upgraded our microphones. I call them microphone condoms. I don't know what, foamy things, or
I don't know. They're not really a pop filter. They're just kind of like a foam, basically a foam microphone condom.
Yeah, so that way if I breathe on I'm pretty close to the microphone right now, you can't really hear me breathing on the microphone. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not as bad as it was.
It's supposed to help with the pops, and when you enunciate sharply, and plus it cuts down on a lot of ambient, like you said, heavy breathing and crap like that. I mean, I don't know, whatever. All the cool kids have them.
Yeah. Well, Mitch was commenting that we were peaking his equipment or something, and I'm like, whatever, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I think it sounds fine. But so anyway, we did some research, and you had found these things. They were like $4 a piece. So I was like, okay, I guess I can spend $8.
Well, hell, Mitch is just yanking your chain because you mispronounced his business name on 4 podcasts. So he's just exacting some revenge.
Mitch at A&M Promotions. See, I can remember A&M because it's like Texas A&M, and to me, I mean, that's a school that I'm interested in because whatever. I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah, whatever.
So anyway, all right, lots to talk about, but I mean, Jesus. Yeah. I mean, there's between all the stuff that's going on with in Washington and all the screaming and crying, and then there's stuff going on with Glock, and there's stuff going on with H&K, and there's stuff going on with SIG, and there's stuff just all kinds of craziness. So
hey, look, you know what? Let's
and I'm getting so much hate mail from people. It's just
look. Let me start this out by saying, you're a gun douche and you spend way too much freaking money on guns, and I'm a cheap bastard, and I spend as little as humanly possible on guns. But I have to say, that new Wilson 9mm, dude, I'd have to say I'd be real tempted to chunk down the $4,000 that bastard's going to end up costing. I like that gun.
Wilson has, quote, it's a soft launch, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, all these people started coming forward with videos of the Wilson. It's called the Wilson, I think it's the X9 carry, or the X9. It's a double stack 9mm bull-barreled Commander. Oh, it's not a true Commander, it's a 4-inch barrel, because they...
Yeah. I mean, look... It's going to be stupid expensive, and I'm never going to buy one because I'll never pay that kind of money, and that's even if I can find one.
MSRP is going to be like $2,900. That's what their published MSRP is.
Okay, so if that's the published MSRP, that means you should be able to pick one up for about $2,500, which is a lot of money for a 9mm 1911. I mean, it is. But I'll tell you what. Man, I tell you what, if they actually put this thing in production and enough of them hit the market, man, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a nice looking piece.
Look, where was this gun 10 years ago when I needed it? But, look, here I have a huge problem with this gun. And I made a comment about it on Facebook yesterday when the video started coming out. And I don't have a problem with Wilson. I don't have a problem with the gun. I don't have a problem with 9mm. I don't have a problem with 9mm 1911s. I don't have a problem with double stack 9mm 1911s. What I have a problem with is this is the second time Wilson has done this. This is their second double stack 9mm. This gun's going to change IDPA. This gun's going to basically give you a 9mm or give you a 1911 so you don't have to reload it every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And the problem with the last one, I mean, I think they were like $3,000, but the backlog to get them, I think it had gone up to like 24 months. You couldn't find these guns. You couldn't get these guns. There were people that were on the backlog, I think, for 2 years when they finally gave up and shut it down.
Sure.
And I do not appreciate Vaporware. And
no, I mean, I don't disagree with you.
Here's a reality check for Wilson Combat. If it's easier for me to find a Liebenberg or Swenson 1911 than it is to find this 9mm, you have a problem as a business. And if this gun is Vaporware, yeah, fuck you guys. I mean, because people are asking me about it. And, this was about 8-10 years ago. I was going around most of these custom makers in a different job and telling them, you all better get on board this 9mm 1911 train because it's coming. And most of them, laughed at me. One or two of them took me seriously. But this gun... if someone's asking me, do I want one? Sure I do. It's, what they've done is they've apparently decided that they've given up the ghost on the idea of having, standard 1911 grips on this gun. So it's got its own custom frame with its own grip back insert, kind of like a M&P clamshell thing that goes over the back, the grip inserts. And so they can keep the girth down. But I'm not, unless I see one in a store in front of me under glass, I'm not doing it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, and maybe they shut the last gun down because they wanted to make a bunch of changes to improve the line. Maybe they shut the last gun down because they got tired of trying to outsource with vendors on OEM parts and they couldn't get these guns built. Maybe this is the answer to the problem I'm talking about, but if this is Vaporware, man, screw this. Screw this gun.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see where it happens. And look, the truth is, look, this is a niche market, because you're either going to be on the Wilson train or not. There's a lot of excellent 9mm out there in the $500 to $1,000 range. To get $2,500 to $3,000 out of one of these guns, this thing better jerk you off. I mean, the truth is, not everyone's going to be out buying these because of the MSRP on it.
Do we even know what the magazine is in this gun? Is it a custom or is it an existing mag body from somebody else?
I have no clue. And if it's a custom mag, so you're talking probably $45 per mag.
I guess I'm old and I'm jaded and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Look,
I
don't believe it. I don't believe in Wilson double stack 9mm guns. I've been lied to too much already.
Yeah, whatever. They'll either come out or they won't. I like them. Will I pay $3,000 for one? Probably not, because me. Although I have to say, if I was going to dump $3,000 on a 1911, this would be at the top of my to-do list.
Yeah,
and look,
this checks a lot of boxes for you.
look, dropping $3,000 on a 1911 is not a hard thing to do. There's a bunch of them out there. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there. But I'm saying if I'm going to drop $3,000 on a 1911, this here is at the top of my list. I like the size. You know, I like the caliber. You know, and Wilson puts out a fine product. You know, so we'll see. Like I said, I mean, before I would need to hold one and maybe even shoot one before I even bought one, you know, so.
Yeah, I wonder if it's, you know, I imagine it's probably shorter than a government length grip. And if it's like a Glock 19 size grip, that's a little too short for me. But maybe you can stick a mag on it or something.
Well, but you know what though? I mean, you know, my current 1911 that I carry is a SIG C3, and that's a commander slide on an officer's frame. So I'm used to a short grip.
Yeah, it doesn't bother you at all.
No, it doesn't bother. And I got big hands, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's something I've just gotten used to because I like that. I like the SIG C3. You know, I mean. You know, for a 1911 and 45 ACP, you know, the size works for me. I mean, I've got full size 1911s I can carry. I prefer that one because, well, one, it's a SIG, and you know, I like SIGs, but you know, I like the commander slide. I hate the little subcompact 1911s, you know, with the little, I don't know, officer slide, or I don't know, whatever the hell you call them, but the slides that are. If it's shorter than a commander slide, I don't even want it.
Technically, this gun, technically most of these Wilson quote commanders are not true commanders because true commanders are 4 1/4 inch. I know. So I mean, you know, for the Colt guys are going to be dicks about it, but I mean, I know. Yeah, look, for people that aren't technical, the reason they do this is they switch it to a bull barrel. So they find that it's more reliable. The bull barrel helps with the muzzle flip and helps with the timing and keep the gun running. When you start shortening these guns, they find it's worth it. Just chop them down to little itty bitty bull barrels. That's why. Here's a bird example. Even if you don't like those quote micro commander or micro officer size 1911s, try to find one that's got a bushing on it. There's a reason why they don't do it because they're even less reliable.
Well, yeah. But anyway. Regardless, and I'm not shitting on the small 1911s. You know, there's guys out there that have those little micro Kimbers. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with them.
I don't know if you remember this. Remember, I had one of those Kimber Ultra. Was it Ultra? Basically, the officer size CDP, and it was of the three Kimbers.
Was that an Ultra or was that an Ultra 2?
Oh, it was before the 2s, I'm sure. But okay. it was the CDP line, and the CDP was the most accurate out of the full size and the quote commander because I had 3 of them.
I actually seriously looked at those before I bought that SIG, the C3. Excuse me. And man, I didn't like it. It didn't feel good. And this is for me. I'm not shitting on anyone that has one. I'm sure there's a lot of people that carry them and love them, and that's great if you like them. Just for me, I didn't like it. But the SIG fit me great, and the combination, you know, I didn't want a true commander, you know, I wanted the officer's frame because that worked for me, but I liked the little extra length on the slide, so the you know, the commander slide, I mean, you know, the combination works for me. That's me. I'm not saying it works for you. Look, there's people that might grab that C3, run it, and go, man, this thing blows. And that's okay, too.
I mean, you know, it's, look, your C3 is very accurate. I can make headshots with it at 25 yards, but it's a itty-bitty gun for me to hold on to.
It is, but you carried full-size 1911s for years, you know, and going from your full-size, what is that, executive elite, or what did you carry? What was your full-size carry gun?
It was a 5-inch head brown blued gun.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Now, going from that to my SIG, dude, man, that's a monster change for you. I mean, you know, you got slide length, you got frame size, but still, I'll run that SIG against any full-size 1911 all day long. That thing is wicked accurate.
I have to admit, it is a wicked gun, but, you know, it's like... people are asking me about, anyway, I look, I don't have any beef with Wilson. Wilson doesn't care about us. But I just was like, great, another gun that I'm never going to be able to find. Because here's the thing, MSRP is 28 whatever, but here's the thing, if you can't fill the orders and you can't find these guns, guess what's going to happen? The street price, I think that even if you the previous one that they finally had to give up, they just shut down the other one like, I don't know, like 6 months ago or a year ago.
Well, if you can't get them, then they're going to be $5,000.
Oh, they were touching $4,000 on the secondary market, and it was like you had to basically to even get one. You basically it was like going in trying to date some guy's daughter. You had to come in and sit down and be like, "What are your intentions?" I mean, it was so ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you see, and the thing is, I don't like Wilson near enough to jump through those hoops. I mean, look, here's the thing: if I chunk down cash, give it to me. Don't ask me any questions. Don't make me fill out any forms. It's not like
it was the secondary market because they were so hard to get. The people that had them, if they wanted to sell them, they were such arrogant bastards.
Look,
I mean, I'm telling you what, that gun was a wreck.
It doesn't matter if it's it doesn't matter if it's a secondary market or not. You know, it's like I don't care who has the gun. I don't care if I'm buying it from Wilson directly or someone who managed to get a hold of one. Look, if I want the gun, I'm going to chunk down change. It's not like I'm buying a pedigree dog where it's like, well, you know, you have to feed it this dog food and you have to do that, or we reserve the right to take the dog back. Fuck you.
Yeah, well, you know what? Until proven wrong, we'll wait and see. Let's get off this because I don't want this whole podcast me be bitching about this gun because this gun, and Wilson double stack dynamo sucks. Everything about him sucks.
Hey, look, you don't know if it sucks. You're the only one bitching about it. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never got to see one either.
Well, maybe I won't.
Okay, this is going to...
You know what? Hold on a second. Let's get off the Wilson here. I want to address something.
Oh, God.
Because I've been kind of like...
something positive.
No, I've been kind of off of Facebook for the past couple of weeks. If any of our listeners notice, they'll notice that I haven't really been posting a lot on Facebook much. And I haven't been going in there and commenting. I've been kind of busy doing other things. And I've been kind of like jumping in and checking things out. But you made a post, I think yesterday, about chatterboxes at the range. You know, people.
Oh, dude.
Okay, now look.
I wasn't even going to talk about that on pod.
No, hold on a second. I just want to make a data point here. I don't want to even get into it.
Okay, I'm listening. I'll be quiet.
But you use electronic ears, which means you catch everything. You catch all the conversation. I don't. I never have, and I don't like electronic ears. I've got two sets of ears. I've got an old set of Peltors I've had for probably 35 years, and then I've got a set of Dalton Lee sync headphones where I can plug my phone or my iPod into them and listen to music, but they're not electronic. I don't. If you talk to me, I either have to lift one of my ears up, or you have to get up to me and yell. But you know, when you're at a public range or even a private range, you know, a club, you know, where you have people jaw jacking, all I have to say is if you don't have electronic ears, you don't hear a lot of that shit.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about this on pod, but now you're kind of forcing the issue. Here's my problem. I was trying to shoot video yesterday.
Well, now that's a whole nother issue.
And I was going through the video when I got back from the range because someone wanted to go shooting. He had, you know, he's got a new load for his SCAR, and, you know, he's an older gentleman. Look, this even gets to something. So I was going to take a picture of this son of a bitch. So we show up at this range. This is a private club, and there's handicap parking right up by the range, and you can like slide a couple vehicles into it, and you know, the gentleman that I brought,
the guy you were with does have a handicap sticker. I believe.
Yeah, I mean, he's 70 years old and he can't walk that well. We show up, and of course it's the middle of the day, so most people are at work. You know, you and I, we do our own deal. So, you know, I pull up, and because I'm driving, I got all the gear, and there's a truck, and this guy is parked like 90 degrees off. He's blocking all the lanes. He's got his little bullshit little SUV backed up to the pad. back of his tailgate up, his lift, whatever, of his little bullshit truck, and you can tell he's been sitting there for hours. He's blocked all these goddamn lanes. Nobody can get in there because it's all about him. And I was just like, I knew when I saw, I was going to take a picture of it. I was going to take a picture of his truck and put it on goddamn internet yesterday. I was so pissed off. And that was before I was like, you selfish son of a bitch. And I gave him the stink eye. I was looking at him. I'm like, we pull up. We got a handicap fucking placard. I'm dropping the guy off. I'm looking at the guy like, seriously? So, and then from there, we're doing stuff, and I'm telling you what, I'm looking at the video, and it is nonstop. And it's like, you sons of bitches don't even fucking shoot. I mean, it was just like, God damn it. This video is fucking terrible.
Is it even usable? If you throw some music in there or something?
Look, dude, we're kind of new to this video stuff. I mean, look, I'm not George Lucas. Maybe I can knock the audio out of it and put some music in it or something, but I don't, I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. And at the end of the day, some of like the hits on steel or the recoil of the report of the rifle is kind of important to the video. I mean, you don't want to be like a silent movie with Charlie Chaplin in there swinging a cane. I mean, it was just fucking terrible. And I'm just like, God, I mean, I was pissed yesterday because it basically wasted 3 hours of my time.
I might have had to say something to the dude.
Oh, and of course, again, look, in full disclosure, look, it's a private club. They're members. Look, I'm there with I'm trying to videotape stuff. I'm not the priority, okay? But it was just, you could just. People don't realize they fall into habits, and the point of this range is to shoot and get stuff done, and these old dudes were basically, it's their place to hang out and fucking just waste time. And
so basically you're saying it's an extension of your local gun store, where you've got the 4 dudes that never buy anything, but they hang in there all day.
You know what the difference is? Straight up, the difference is, I shoot guns for a living. This is a job. I've only got so much time to do X, Y, and Z, and I've got a schedule to keep. And it was just, man, I mean, because it was, I haven't done it because, we were doing the things for the FAL, the listeners or the readers had chosen the 223 FAL to do stuff with. And, so I was, I had to get the iron sights kind of squared away with that 55 grain Wolf ammo, and this particular range has steel targets at some odd distance, like 158 yards. I took the laser rangefinder out of the armory to check it, so thank you for that. And it's your rangefinder, and and I got it on there, but it was just
it's our rangefinder.
Yeah. So, but we had this thing for years, and a part of me, I was like, oh man, we're gonna have to get a rangefinder, and you were like, dude, we have one. I'm like. We do? And you basically were like, go to this wall, go over here, this is the package, what it looks like. And I was like, oh shit, there's a rangefinder hanging there on the goddamn wall. So. Yeah,
well, that's how you know you have too much crap.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it's a big armory. There's a lot of gear, over here, so.
Hey, and I'll tell you what, the thing is that the rangefinder is not some high speed, low drag, $1,000 rangefinder. It's a pretty fairly inexpensive rangefinder, but but you know what? It works.
It's a Simmons or something. Yeah, you don't need. I mean,
it's a Simmons. I think it cost us. Oh man, I don't know. I think I spent maybe. If I spent $50 on it, I don't think I spent $50 on it.
It's good to like 600 yards, isn't it?
Yeah. I
mean, that's the thing. These guys get on the internet. They want to spend fucking $1,500 on rangefinders, and they shoot 300 yards, and it's like, what are you doing, dude?
I don't know how accurate it is at 600 yards, but I do know out to 200 yards, it's very accurate. So the truth is, if you're using it for a honting or a shooting scenario, and unless you're, honestly.
You know what? The thing is, there's guys listening to this and they don't understand. They're like, 200 yards, what the hell? But if you're an archery dude, there's a big difference between
Dude,
15-yard shot and a 40-yard shot, that's a huge difference.
Exactly. If you're an archery guy and you need to know if it's 15 yards or 18 yards or 22 yards because of your pin settings, man, that's huge.
That's a huge difference.
And look, I know it's accurate out to 200 yards. It's probably, I'm going to say it's probably 98% accurate out to 300 yards. And beyond 300 yards, I don't really care, because the truth is, the amount of times I shoot past 300 yards is slim. I don't shoot really much past 300. And I'm not going to lie and say I'm Johnny Sniper Go Lucky, and I'm banging out 1,200 yard shots all day, because that's just not the truth. For me, for me, a 600 yard shot is a long distance shot.
Oh, it's a long shot for most people. But anyway, I mean, it was, I'm pretty sure I've shot that rangefinder out I know I've shot that rangefinder at over 400 yards.
Okay,
I know I have.
Cool. I know I've shot it to 200 and it's very accurate.
Yeah. So I mean, I know I shot it to like 4 something, and we can. But you know what? This summer, we'll test it. So hey, you know what? Didn't you tell me? I want to talk about something funny. Because I don't want to sound like a sourpuss on this whole goddamn podcast. Man, I was so pissed off. I was just, my whole day yesterday was just with that shit on the range. Did you tell me some guy on the internet had posted photographs of his Dillon 1050 and his primer tube, primer thing below? What happened with that?
Okay. Yeah, he posted pictures. He's running a 1050, and I don't know what caliber he's running it in. I mean, he probably said, but I don't remember, because we were talking about primers. And he posted a picture of his primer feed tube. Dude, and it was just all swollen and bulged out, and there was just dead primers all up and down it. What had happened, he was running and anyone who's not familiar with the Dillon 1050, a Dillon 1050, most people are familiar with like the 550 and the 500, 550, 650, but the 1050 gets you up into professional range reload.
That's Dillon's largest.
Yes,
reloader.
we have a 1050 in the armory set up in 45 ACP, and for those that reload, the 1050, if you can feed it, and it pretty much to do this kind of volume, you almost have to have 2 people, one person cranking and one person feeding. But if you can feed it, the 1050 will crank out 1,000 rounds an hour, and that's jamming.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, apparently this guy, I don't know how it happened. I'm sure he said, and I don't remember, but anyway, the whole primer stack detonated. I guess one of the primers detonated that he was seating, and it fired up through the tube. Every primer went off, and people were making comments that, oh yeah, that happened to me on my 550, and that happened to me on this, and and one guy's like, well, that's why whenever I reload, I wear eye protection and ears, and the guy's just like, the guy that had it happen, he's just like, all I can tell you is I had to sit down, change my shorts, and drink a beer afterwards, because basically, he had 100 primers chain ignite. Pow.
Probably within a foot of his face. Probably within at least 2. Within 2 feet of his face.
Yes. So he's just like, I couldn't hear. My ceiling is scorched.
No, come on. His ceiling's not scorched.
That's what he said. I mean,
you know what? I bet it put out enough smoke. It probably did. It could have sooted up his ceiling.
Chain fire 100 primers in a row.
You know what? That's a lot. That's a lot of pollution.
Yeah.
And you know what? Most people don't reload in like a concrete bunker like we have. They reload in a room with drywall in it.
Well, most people reload in their basement or their den or their second bedroom.
Yeah. So yeah, that would that. You know what? I take that back. It probably did stood up his ceiling.
I mean,
I'd love to see pictures of that. I mean, I'm glad to hear the guy's okay. He could have been. He could. You could lose an eye.
Yeah, no, he was totally fine. There was no injuries involved. There was an injury to his. Well, it's safe to say his primer tube will never ever function again. That primer tube is basically one you're going to put up on your wall to look at to remind yourself not to do that ever again, because there's no way that straw is going to fit back down into the reloader. I mean, it was janky.
I mean, yeah, wow. I mean, yeah, I mean, the thing is, those are the kind of things that are talked about in hushed tones in the backs of gun stores. And, whereas now you've got the internet, people get out the camera and so.
Well, and it was amazing how many people responded that have had that happen to them, because I mean, I can honestly say I've never had that happen to me, but the other side of that coin is when you're cranking out 1,000 rounds an hour, man, you're cranking that handle, I mean, as fast as you can crank it. And if one thing's out of sync, one thing goes wrong.
Yeah, to our listeners, if you have ever seen one of those videos of how to put it, people will come up with some kind of electronic contraption to crank the handle on progressive reloaders. Like I've automated my reloader, and there's people that sell kits. Whenever you see one of those videos, it's always hooked up to a 1050.
Yeah. Well, that's because the 1050 can handle the speed.
Yeah.
Where a lot of your other presses can't handle that kind of speed. And, I mean, there are automated crankers, for the lack of better term, I'll call it a cranker. It's an automated thing where, you can hook it up and it will manually pull the lever for you. And that way, what that does is the biggest drawback with the 1050 is feeding it. You've got to feed primers, you got to feed, you got to make sure your powder, your powder reservoir stays full. You got to feed the cases in the automatic case dispenser, and you've got to feed bullets on there. And you have to do all this while you're cranking the handle. Well, if you're a one-man operation and you have an automated device to crank that handle for you, that allows you to feed bullets, monitor your primers, monitor your brass. Because look, you can, the machine can crank out 1,000 rounds an hour, but if you keep running out of brass and primers and have to stop, it's not going to run 1,000 rounds an hour. That's 1,000 rounds an hour, but that's continual production, which means you've got to feed the machine.
Yeah, most people preload their primer. Not
straws.
Straws.
Yeah, a lot of guys, they'll have 15, 20 straws and by the way, Dillon sells a machine that vibrates all the primers to where they all end up being face up. So when you load you can buy automatic machines to fill your straws and stuff like that.
I think we have one of those over here in a box. We never even opened it.
Do we?
I think we do. We've got something.
I think you might be right. I do seem to remember us buying.
It's literally unopened.
Yeah, but my point is, Dillon sells everything to make this process fast, speedy. You just have to be willing to spend the money. Hey,
I want to move on to a couple things here. Because you're a SIG fanboy, right?
Oh yeah.
You've been. Hey, did you ever go? You said you were going to go shoot a guy's 320.
No, you know what? I got tied up with a bunch of crap, but a buddy of mine just picked up a 320. I guess about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. Week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Just picked up a 320, brand new. Yeah, obviously, a standard 320 civilian model doesn't have the military thumb safety or anything like that, But I got to play with it. I did not get to fire it.
Oh, so you actually, okay, I didn't even know you'd even seen it. So.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I actually, held it, played with it, brought it up, man.
Got the man loving on it a little bit. Hey, baby.
Oh yeah, baby. I love the 320, man. That thing is sweet. I can't wait to shoot it.
Did you take it apart?
No, I did not.
I'm dying to see the rails in that gun because the pictures I've seen on the internet, I don't think there's a lot of rail space. The rails, and I'm curious over the long term if that's going to be an issue with that gun.
I'm going to hook up with him here within the next I'm hoping one day next week. The problem is, he's as busy as I am, and you know how it is trying to correlate times where we can get together. But I'm hoping to get together with him next week. I want to run, I want to run 100 rounds through it at least. I'll take it apart. I'll shoot some pictures. I'll throw some video up there too, Yeah,
I just want to get it on record. I am curious. I'm curious if over the long term, I just don't know if there's enough rail space on that gun to hold up to like 10 years of use. I don't know. I have no reason. I have no reason to think that technologically. I have no indication that there's an issue there. I just remember seeing a couple photographs of the 320 because I kind of never really had to pay that much attention to it until it became the Army's gun, and I'm like, man, it doesn't have a lot of that insert that the serialized part. That doesn't look like it's got much rail on that.
Okay, so here's what you need to do. Since I don't own any Glocks and won't have any, one day, either this week or next week, when you're running around or something, drop off one of your Glocks, a 17 or a 19 or something like that. And when I get together with him to take pictures, I'll break the Glock apart and do a side by side rail comparison.
I can do that.
Is
his gun a full size gun, or is it one of the like in between guns? And I don't know all the terminology for the 320.
No, it's full size.
Full size grip, full size.
Yeah.
Well, you probably I'd probably want to get a 17 then over to you.
Okay. Well, drop off 17. And
on the 320 front, did you hear that someone else has adopted the 320?
Who's that? I have not heard.
Customs and Border Patrol has picked up the 320.
Awesome.
So the trend is starting, and
Well, you know what? That's just another bite into the Glock market.
Speaking of Glock, they appealed the Army selection.
I know,
but that's standard.
Look, you got to try. I mean, you have to give it a shot.
Well, there's look to the listener out there, and the gun guys don't want to believe this. They don't want to believe. Look, if the gun guys get myopic on this subject, because when they talk about gun selection, like for example, they'll say, "Oh yeah, the Beretta won and the SIG lost in the last pistol selection because of quote politics." Okay, and they'll do it one way, but they refuse to accept it the other way. They refuse to accept the fact that SIG, for all these years, has been going around telling people with a wink and a nod, we really should have won that. And you know what? And that's part of their marketing campaign. Glock's going to do the same thing. And that's why a lot of these contracts, whether it's for rifle, submissions for, the IC individual carbine competition, or, there's a modular handgun, and then it was the joint service pistol. There's these conditions that basically say, do not make the results public. And you'll hear companies quote, "We're dropping out." And the reason quote, they're dropping out is so they can say, we dropped out. The politics weren't in our favor, whatever. But they don't want to take their baby and then have to tell the market that they lost, because they spin the politics argument the other way. And Glock, and the SIG boys have been trading on that horse shit forever, and Glock's going to do the same thing. They're going to be like, we're going to appeal it, and then we should have won, and whatever. And you have to appeal it on some level just to make sure there wasn't somebody in there, some light colonel that's like, getting a kickback from SIG or something. You know what I mean? I mean, but it's not. They all get appealed.
Sure.
I mean, is it the F-30, the when they selected to quote the F-35, the other airplane? I can't remember who was making it, but there was another airplane that was in the running to be the quote F-35, and they appealed it. They didn't do anything, but they all these defense contracts get appealed. It's built into the contract. So. Let's see here. So anyway, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol got the 320. Glock has appealed it. Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you this. Hell was freezing over. I'm going to get such hate because I do not care for the 300 blackout. I do not care for look the 300. Look, there's something wrong with a 300 blackout. If you want to run suppressed and you want to do a 30 caliber bullet and you truly have an application for that, the 300 blackout gets your job done. But these kids that run out and buy 300 blackout ARs, but then they don't ever shoot because they can't afford to feed them because they can't afford to feed the 5.56 AR as it is, and the 300 blackout's so much more expensive. That's my problem with 300 blackout. Well, this is going to make it worse. H&K is now chambering, I don't know if it's their 416. They're chambering a rifle in 300 blackout, and then yesterday the FBI has announced that they are single source 300 blackout ammo from Black Hills Ammunition, which means they're running 300 blackout for something.
Well, look,
for building,
no, that's fine. They're running, they're running suppressed rifles, and it, they're using it for a particular purpose, and that's fine. My whole argument with the 300 blackout is, if I'm kicking in doors and going building to building, why would I want a 300 blackout? I want a 5.56 that I can, either use with the suppressor or take the suppressor off and still reach out to 500-600 yards with it. I want a, 5.56 suppressed,
Look, if your goal, see again, and this is where the civilians kind of get wrapped around the axle on this, because nobody actually lives in this world. If your goal is you have to be as quiet as you can be so you can go in and shoot somebody and then nobody hears you or you'll get caught and then leave, 300 blackout could possibly get you to across the finish line. The commercial market doesn't live in that world. Well, it's such a convoluted, scenario you have to make up to justify that round for the civilian market. That's the problem.
Exactly, because you know what? I can just with a mag change with different ammo, I can achieve the same results with 5.56.
Yeah, look, I have to be intellectually honest on both sides of the argument. The problem is if you take 5.56 ammo, then you switch to a subsonic 5.56 round, because the bullet is so light, you're into like 22. You're into like the 22 range of performance. Mm-hmm. So if you want to give up that sonic crack, you end up really downgrading your 5.56. So
but if you need quiet to do a job, that's fine, because again, throw a different mag in there and you still have, it's just a mag change. Is it the best scenario? No, but I would rather do that than to carry two different rifles.
Yeah.
I mean, in the real world.
Yeah. A 300 blackout in a gunfight. I don't know. I haven't really looked at that closely, but I mean, for the average person, I mean, look, again, the average civilian, if you were to get into a gunfight, I mean, you're going to have a really, really hard time justifying shooting anybody that's 100 yards away from you or farther. You're going to have to create a pretty unique situation to justify that shot. So if you, as a civilian, want to run around with 300 Blackout as your truck gun, you know, okay, that's fine.
I mean, there's no problem with that.
I mean, it's not my first choice, because would you want to shoot if you had to go take down an animal? Okay. Would you want to shoot them with a 300 Blackout?
I wouldn't have a problem with that. But look, okay, hold on a second here. If you want to use a 300 Blackout as a truck gun, look, my whole thing is if you get yourself, you know, an AR platform in 300 Blackout and you file the paperwork and you get a suppressor and you want to have a suppressed truck gun, awesome. But the truth is, if you're not running a suppressor on any gun with a 300 Blackout, why bother?
You know what? Yeah, that is truly the bottom line. If you are not actually running that gun suppressed, what WTF? I mean, it's exactly. Yeah, these kids buy these 300 Blackouts, and it's man, that's just.
If you're running a suppressor on it and you're doing what 300 Blackout was made to do, tits up, balls to the wall, do it. That's cool.
But I don't want to hear one word about how you can't afford ammo. Oh, I don't want to hear one. I don't want to hear one freaking word. Oh man, I can't shoot that much because reasons. Yeah. It's like, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, if you're running 300 Blackout and you don't have a suppressor, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You might as well just get a 5.56.
Look, I was shooting video yesterday with the 223 FAL. You know what kind of ammo I was running through that gun?
Wolf 55 grain.
Wolf 55 grain steel cased ammo. You want to know why? Because I shoot a lot. And, come on. I'm shooting, iron sights at a steel target this was like 158 yards. What am I, 77 grain match ammo? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah. Iron sights at 150 yards. You're using Wolf 55 grain steel cased ammo.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, for me, period, I mean, in the continental United States, I mean, even for like my SCAR as quote, I hate the word primary because that gets its whole other, it's almost getting to become like the word kit, which I hate quote tactical rifle. I'm all about the 55 grain like tap ammo or some of the high performance 55 grain ammo. So why not, if I'm going to have my training ammo be 55 grain Wolf or 55 grain Winchester white box, it's the same grain as my performance ammo. Yeah. I don't have to have like crazy 77 grain or SS 109 and some of this stuff. I mean,
Yeah, no, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that with like, SS 109 or anything, but the truth is, shoot what you train with.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're competing or if you're on a SWAT team or unless you have a specific purpose, dude, for the average guy, just shoot what you train with.
Yeah.
And the truth is, like I said, unless you're competing, and hell, even
competing. Honestly, oh, dude, I don't know anyone competes with 300 Blackout.
No. I'm talking about 5.56. But truth is, even if you're shooting like a 3-gun match, I don't see where 55 grain Wolf steel case ammo wouldn't work just fine.
You know what? I do not have an answer as to what would be the extreme outside range of a 3-gun range of a target. I don't know. That, if you're shooting stuff up close, mid range, and all of a sudden dropping out to 600 yards, okay, I could see that making a difference. But anyway, look, the fact that H&K is chambering a rifle in 300 Blackout, you know what that tells me?
What's that tell you?
H&K is coming to the U.S.
Whatever. I mean, yeah, okay, sure. I buy it.
That is a U.S. round all day, every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I mean, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. Whatever. My biggest problem with H&K is their MSRP.
So yeah, just like the
I mean, seriously, I mean, when
I know
when you get right down to it, it's a dollars and cents thing. There's nothing wrong with the with the H&K platform, fine platform.
There are people out there that you'll like this. If you want an H&K rifle, if you want one of those piston H&K ARs,
yeah.
There are people out there that make the argument that you can get the same gun but improved, and it's the SIG 516. Because I guess the people that designed the 416 went to SIG and made the 516 at SIG, and then they left there and went somewhere. I don't know. These people, they change companies.
See, now this is a whole nother conversation and a whole nother argument.
Because you did not know that, and that's why you're like, really?
No, but you see, here's the thing with the SIG platform. Even if you go back to like the 556 XI, which basically competes with the SCAR. You take the modern SIGs, the AR platform SIGs, the SIGs they're making to compete with the AR platform.
It's the 516.
The truth is, you can take, like FN, H&K, and you can take even a variety of different, ARs out there. And I can make an argument you're better off spending your money on a SIG. Of course, I'm a SIG fanboy, so I'm going to lean towards SIG. But the truth is, the 556 XI, I'd buy those all day and all night long over a SCAR. You get the only difference between a SCAR and a 556 XI is the name and the price. Everything the SCAR does, the 556 XI does. Plus, the 556 XI is a lot easier to switch calibers on.
Let me give you. I just did a quick Gunbroker search.
Yeah.
And again, I don't even know if this is because I have a whole issue with maybe some of the prices on Gunbroker anymore. That's a whole other argument.
But that's a whole other argument. Prices on Gunbroker are, yeah.
SIG 516s on Gunbroker, it looks like these are okay. Yeah, this is a rifle. This, because some of them are quote pistols. And, I can't tell apart. 516 on Gunbroker, it looks like they're about $1,500, $1,600. And if it's the same gun as a 416 H&K, that gun from H&K is what? Oh my God! I mean, $3,000, high twos.
Yeah, something.
And you
like
can't
that.
even get part. There, and it's So I mean, it's something to consider.
Okay.
And I think the 516 is lighter than the H&K gun too, because I remember I had picked up. Somebody had shown up. I told this story before, but some of these piston ARs started showing up some years ago, and some guy had shown up with one at a place, and he was a recon guy, and I was like, and as soon as I picked that gun up, I was like, holy crap, this thing is so front heavy. I hated it. I was like, the thing is, I was excited to see it. I'm like, oh yeah, piston AR. And he handed it to me, and I was like, "Oh shit, piston AR!"
Piston AR.
I mean, I didn't want to piston his Wheaties, but I was like, he just handed me the gun, and I didn't fire, and I hated the gun. I was like, "This sucks."
Gander Mountain.
Aren't they going out of business?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Are you back away from your microphone because I can't hear you that well?
No, I'm not. Gander Mountain has the SIG 516 Patrol. And I'm not going to get into different models or whatever. This is just what I pulled up real quick. $1,649.99.
Here's one on Gunbroker and FDE, so that's even better. $14.99. So, you know what? Here's my problem. Look, I'm going to mention this because there's guns that I'm always looking for on Gunbroker, and I've been looking for a Ljungman for a while. The 6.5 Swede semi-automatic gun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, familiar with it. Quite familiar with it.
What the hell? I don't know what's happened, but they've gone from being like $700, $800 to now all the Ljungmans you see on Gunbroker are $2,000 within like 9 months.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, this is a point where I'm like, you guys can ask for this, so that doesn't mean these guns are worth that. I'm like, you got to be out of your freaking mind. You know, and what happens is these people, they get on Gunbroker, they price stuff, and they're like, well, that's the prices. Because actually, I remember when I bought that, I was traveling, and we've got that PPQ-45 we got a deal on. You haven't even seen it. We have a PPQ pistol.
Oh yeah,
45.
that's right.
Yeah,
you know
I know.
What?
We've been so busy. It's not even out of the box. And the guy at the store where I was talking to him about it, and they knew what the prices were on Gunbroker off the top of their head. They're all pricing based off of what they see on Gunbroker.
Yeah, but Gunbroker, the prices on Gunbroker are not realistic prices.
Sometimes.
At least I don't think they are.
Yeah, so it was just, I was just like, $2,000 for a Ljungman? Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, hey. You know what? $2,000 for a Ljungman is ridiculous. The truth is you can get them for $1,000.
Hey, H&K, before we get off the H&K thing real quick, I don't know if you heard, did they finally have come out with their VP9 new models? Did you hear about that? That would be a no.
No, I mean, I heard they were coming out with like FDE VP9s and, different colors and stuff, but what is the new model?
They had the tacticals and the new colors and all that. I guess that the IWA just happened this week, which is basically like SHOT Show for Europe. They've got their, and I don't know the H&K nomenclature because I just don't. It's like, to me, H&K nomenclature is kind of like Starbucks. Give me a small coffee. I don't.
Give me a Vende.
I hate in H&K they call like their compact or carry models. They call them the SK. Okay. Short Kurtz maybe or something. I don't know what that means. Yeah. But anyway, H&K's got a compact VP9 now. They also have a long slide, like a tactical, like the Glock 34-35 VP9, and apparently they've come out with 20-round magazines for the VP9s or for the VP. I think it's I don't know. I guess you can't say 20-round magazine for VP9 because a VP40 would probably be 17 rounds.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
18 rounds. I don't know.
But they have 20-round mags available?
They I would I would love a +2 base plate for a VP9 that was like a low profile because Taylor Freelance and some of these other people, they make the plus their mag extensions for the VP9 are so big. It's like it's for competition. It's not for carry. And I'm sure that this thing's going to be like monster huge, but whatever. I mean, if people are interested in that, there are people that think the VP9 is too big, and so they want the itty bitty ones. And H&K calls those the SK pistols, I guess. So
Oh, Christ Almighty! Okay, I just did a search. The X-Tech Tactical Industries 5-round mag extension, which basically converts it to a 20-round mag. Oh my God! It looks like the handle of a taser.
You know what? Yeah, there's.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's horrible. Great for competition, mind you.
I haven't seen the factory 20 rounds from H&K, but the fact that it's a 20-round mag, it's going to be too big. I wish they'd come out with a +2. That's the one thing I can kick the VP9 on is it needs to have 17-round magazines.
I agree with you. I mean, that's the only thing. Look, I've run the VP9 for a couple of years as well as you have, and I've run a lot of rounds through it. And the only issue I have with the VP9 is the magazine capacity, and there's no reason why they can't have a 17-round mag capacity. I mean, there's room there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it maybe.
It is what it is, and I mean, if you have to kick the VP9, if you have to say, give me a reason why I should pick a VP, an H&K over a Glock.
Yeah, the magazines suck.
Honestly, I can sit there and tout all the benefits of the VP9, but at the end of the day, if I have to make, I hate Glocks. I mean, I'm a Glock hater from way back. But at the end of the day, if you sit there and throw a VP9 down and a Glock right next to it and say, give me your honest opinion, which gun should I buy for a self-defense carry gun, I'm going to tell you to go with the Glock because of the magazine capacity.
Yeah, you know, the reason I'm wrapped around the axle on mag capacity with these full-size service pistols is because of my 1911 experience. Because here's the thing, for 12 years, I carried a gun that basically I had to reload it constantly. And if I was going to switch to a 1-9, you know, I mean, I still, in the back of my mind, when I'm shooting these polymer pistols, you know, I feel like I'm cheating. Because, man, I got so many bullets in this gun. But the thing is, you know, I stepped from an 8-round gun, 9-round gun, into 17, 18, 19 rounds. And it's like, you know, I want all the bullets. And the fact that the VP9 is a, quote, full-size service pistol, and which I'm totally down for, but it, you know, it's a little short on the mags, and it's just like,
you know, but you've got a full-size service pistol that's going 15.1, and if you're a 1911 guy, you're thinking, psh, what's the problem with that? Shit, I can shoot that thing all day long and all night long. But if you're a Glock guy, you're going, why the hell would I even want to go to this?
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, you know, I mean, because I love, like, I remember the FNS9 had, I mean, I remember I was running that for a while, and I was like, man, this thing's got so much ammo in it. I was like, man, I've loaded on Sunday and shoot it all week. And I think is it 17 or 18 plus 1? And it was just like, man, I mean, I think I even got more bullets in them than the Glocks. I can't remember. Definitely compared to like the Glock 19, because they're about the same size, like especially the slides, and it was just a neat thing. Hey, I got some good news. You ready for this one?
Yes, I'm always ready for good news.
Members of the Bin Laden family burned up in a plane crash in England, I guess yesterday or the day before. So that's it. We're done.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, fantastic. We'll move off that one. Good for you, assholes. They survived the impact and they all burned up. Good.
I hope it was very painful.
They came in too hot and they hit a bank and went up and landed in a parking lot, and they all tried to get out and they all burned up and burned in hell. Speaking of which, did you know Toyota Tundra trucks could fly?
I've seen videos.
Did you see that video? Dude, it was like a guy, there was a police chase.
Is that the guy, the police chase, the guy went down into a ravine and like projectiled the whole truck? Like,
dude, was that my truck? Or was that like a Tacoma?
No,
or whatever they call that. That looked like, I thought it was my truck.
It was your truck, but it didn't have the king cab on it.
I don't know, it looked like it was a 4-door.
I don't know, man, but it was a full-size Tundra. Whether it had the king cab with the short bed on it, or if it was the regular cab with the long bed, I don't know. But that son of a bitch, that thing was probably 10 feet in the air.
No, that thing was like 30 feet in the air, dude.
That thing launched.
Yeah, that wing, I'm telling you what, that truck was amazing. I was like, damn. You know what? Finally, there's an argument for having all those lightweight quarter panels on those Toyota trucks.
Well,
you get more lift.
Yeah,
see, everybody listen to this. See, I drive a Toyota Tundra, and Freeze basically says that my truck is like plastic and wouldn't hold up to a job site.
Well, there's a reason.
You can't launch a Ford F-150 like you can a Toyota truck.
Well, there's a reason why Toyotas are not built Ford tough or Chevy like a rock, and there's a reason why you'll never see a commercial where they take a pallet full of cinder blocks and drop it from 50 feet in the air into the bed of the truck. And there's also a reason why when you go to any construction site across this glorious United States, you'll never see a Tundra on the lot because they don't hold up.
Stop.
But look,
my truck was made in Texas.
Hey, fuck you and your Texas truck.
Hey, didn't we go down to Texas for a show? We were supposed to meet members of like the representatives from the Kyle family and all that.
Yeah, we were down there.
That was the Toyota Center, wasn't it?
I don't know where they're fucking made. But look, let me tell you something about the Toyota. If you're in the trades and you want a durable truck, don't buy a Toyota. But if you want, if you got to pull a boat or a camper and take your family out on vacation and you want to ride in comfort and you want, leather seats and the glass cockpit and all the amenities of your Buick or Cadillac, but you still want to tow your boat or your camper, buy a freaking Toyota. They're great trucks for that. But if you want to get down in the mud and crank it,
oh, dude, I tore up my truck down on Mitchell's Range.
I was going to say, remember crossing the creek at Mitchell's Range?
Oh,
you crossed a creek that I've crossed many a times with a Chevy pickup truck with no damage. And you did what, $2,000 worth of damage to your quarter panels?
Oh, there's more than $2,000. Oh, dude, oh my God. Well, okay, look, dude, it had been raining a lot, and that creek was a lot goddamn deeper than it was normally. And I got hung up and then ended up getting sideways and hung up on the bank. And, man, I got damage. That tore the shit out of my truck.
Yeah, but...
dude, rocks were falling out of my truck like a month later.
Yeah, I could have taken the GMC down there and it wouldn't have been any damage.
Hey, I'll have you know that on a trip I recently, took, I was driving one of the late model Suburbans, the big ones.
Oh, I love Suburbans.
And it's basically the same size as my truck, except that basically the bed is enclosed. And
yeah,
it got really good gas mileage compared to my truck, but I know why. When you go to step on that thing, man, it's got no ass to it. I couldn't believe how little ass this Suburban had. I mean, it's got probably low end power, but man, if you needed to get up and go, quote, get off the X, I was like, I had to totally change my driving habits because you start to really appreciate, because I got the big 5.7 in the Toyota, and that thing will move. That thing will wind up and go if you need it to. I was surprised at how underpowered on the top end the Suburban was. But it got great gas mileage, and most people would prefer that. My Tundra gets crappy gas mileage.
Well, I mean, you look. There's a lot of things to take into that. There's I don't know what engine you had in the Suburban, and I don't know what rear end you had in the Suburban. And the engine and the rear end combination makes all the difference in the world.
On the full-size big giant Suburban, the full-length one, the ones that they up armor, is there even an engine option on one that big?
Oh, there's always engine options. I mean, you're getting the 350, but it depends on, there's options. But again, it's what rear end do you have? Do you have a high rear end? Do you have a low rear end? I mean, it's gear ratio.
Yeah, I don't know, but it just was.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about things that you're not familiar with, and that's okay.
Dude,
but
stop.
No, I'm serious. I mean, you don't know anything about gear ratios and rear ends and shit like that.
I used to race Mustangs. Get the hell out of here.
Whatever. You pick a failed platform because Mustangs are not fast.
Okay, you know what? We're getting off this. We're done. Who is having a worse day? Here's an award for the worst day, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I want to tell you this. In Provo, Utah, fleeing fugitive took a wrong turn and ended up in police custody after running into a canine SWAT training exercise.
Oh, fuck me. Really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad fucking day right there, bro. Wow.
See, Derek Nelson, 39. Again, 39. I mean, you're a goddamn adult. Having these kinds of problems. Failed to appear for a scheduled check-in with his probation officer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Adult probation and parole officials recognized Nelson's car Thursday and attempted to pull over the vehicle. Nelson and two other passengers fled the scene on foot. Really? You're running from your PO at 39 years of age?
Jesus.
Provo police aided probation and parole officials in the search for the suspect. It helps when fugitives run right into a crowd of 30 SWAT officers and 3 canine units who just happen to be training in the area. Dude.
Right, man, what an awesome training scenario. Oh, hey, we're training. Yeah, sure, we'll help you catch your fugitive.
Oh,
wow,
that's awesome. I love stories. There was
did you hear about the judge? I don't know if it was I think it was up in Washington State.
You know what? I've heard blurbs. I don't know the full story. I just know that she probably needs to go stand tall before the man at the bar.
Dude, she may actually get disbarred over this. I don't know all the lowdown on it, but here's the blurb that I got. Okay, so ICE is waiting for this guy to get out of court for his DUI. Either they're going to hook him up and take him down to the cells.
A victimless crime, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to walk out of there, not a free man, but, whatever his penalty is, and they won't hook him up, or they're going to hook him up and take him down to the cells. And either way, ICE is there. ICE is either going to drag him out of the cells and do their thing, or they're going to pick him up when he leaves. And apparently there's like 3 entrances to the courthouse. There's like the main entrance, then there's like a judge's entrance, and then there's, I don't know if it's a back entrance for other employees or whatever. And all of a sudden, this guy disappears. And apparently the only entrance that wasn't covered was like the judge's entrance.
It was an employee entrance at the courthouse, and they got this woman cold on this one. And here's the thing, and what she did is a felony. Yeah,
well, here's the thing.
They're not going to bring her up on charges for the felony. They're going to basically tell the entire court building, you're your warning to everybody. But here's the thing, the bar, in my opinion, and you said she might get disbarred. If I was a member of the bar in her state, I'd haul her ass right up in front of us and be like, surrender your fucking license.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I've noticed since Donald Trump has become president. No, hear me out here. It's interesting how all the politically correct bullshit. I mean, look, Trump's taking a lot of heat from a lot of different sides right now, but a lot of the politically correct bullshit that went on while Barack Obama was president, have you noticed, has stopped? We haven't had any big, huge Black Lives Matters blocking streets. I mean, when he did the first, they blocked all the airports, since he was president. I mean, but it's starting to peter out. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff that was going on for the past year while Barack Obama was president, a lot of that shit's winding down. I think people. I mean, look. If you listen to the mainstream media, Hillary Clinton's president of the United States right now. This is what I was telling you all prior to the election. It's just like, I don't know, man. I think the polls are wrong. I think they, blah, 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 whatever. The mainstream media is trying to, destroy Trump every chance they get. But the reality is things are changing and people know it. Did you hear about the dude?
I know
the dude with the bat or with the stick.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you were going to bring up the I can't remember if the person was gay, lesbian, trans, who was like an illegal alien, showed up at a court on the courthouse steps and gave a press conference. And basically, I'm an illegal alien, and ICE came and got this person.
No, dude, no, that's separate, but that's awesome. So there was a rally. I don't know, a couple days ago, a week ago, something like that. I just heard a blurb of it, and what's happening is all these people on the left, the anti-Trump people, I don't know, the BLM people, the whoever, they're all pepper spraying like Trump fans and supporters. Have you noticed that trend?
I've heard a couple. I mean, I've been busy, but I heard a bunch of people got assaulted this week in California.
Yeah. Well, this dude gets arrested, and he shows up at this rally, and he's wearing a.
I saw the picture.
Dude, he's wearing like a hard hat. He's got
He's got like a garbage. He's got like a garbage can lit as a shield.
Yeah, he's got a shield and he's got a stick and he's got a respirator. So if they pepper spray him, he's fine. He's got goggles and he's in there.
He's got like an American flag and stuff on his. He's got like flags and symbols on his. He looks like kind of like a steampunk version of like the 300.
Yeah, no shit. He's like what's that?
Leonidas.
Leonidas meets like
Leonidas if you're Greek, but Leonidas if you live in America.
Yeah, Leonidas meets Captain America, And anyway, and as these guys are like, out there like pepper spraying and going crazy, he's whacking them with this big fucking stick.
You know what? And he has made fighting back cool and funny. And
you know what? He got arrested for it, but you know what? He probably doesn't give a shit because he probably knew he was going to get arrested because he went in there assaulting people. But you know what,
I think his stick was foam padded or something. It didn't look like he wasn't like wielding like an axe handle or something. He wasn't going to hurt people that bad, I don't believe.
Well, you know what?
I could be wrong. I didn't pay that close of attention to it. So
you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But here's the important part about this. For the past several years, all these little freaking snowflakes have been able to sit there and have their quote-unquote peaceful protests that break into violence, and they've been able to beat up Trump supporters and pepper spray them, and now all of a sudden people are fighting back. Now, how long will it take for these little pricks to continue their quote-unquote peaceful protest when they pepper spray people and people start beating them with sticks? Because, the truth of it is, screw you. I have no problem taking an axe handle and smacking you over the head if you're pepper spraying people.
Well, look, this goes back to something that I had referenced during the inauguration, and then you got Madonna came up and she's talking about bombing the White House, and you got all these people talking about punching Nazis. What's going to end up happening here? There's all these people I guess someone's already made a move. Again, they did this with George W. Bush. Someone's, I guess, now got a new little fiction movie out where I guess Betsy DeVos gets assassinated, and then the administration is all at her funeral and they all get assassinated. Some little fake fantasy, whatever. But here's the problem. One day, probably sooner rather than later, somebody's going to get killed by these lefties, and it's not going to get buried. Someone's going to get put in a coma or seriously debilitated or killed, and it's going to change the narrative. And all these people that have gone out and made all these comments about, fantasy violence against, basically people that support Donald Trump. I don't even want to say conservatives, but basically people who support Donald Trump, they're going to be left holding the bag on this, and they're going to look. they are going to be. It's like it's kind of like the Lee Harvey Oswald. Okay, all these people that or like the Dr. Mudd thing. You get associated with killing Lincoln, and your name is Mudd. You know what I mean? Yeah. These people don't realize that they are on record saying crazy shit, and when the political winds turn and the media is forced to report these as actual serious problems, and all these people, they're all over Facebook and all over social media advocating violence, and they're going to basically end up on the frickin' bullshit list. It's insane.
Kind of like Loretta Lynch's spin 2 or 3 days ago over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I know what her defense is going to be. She's basically going to say, look, Loretta Lynch is no dummy. She's going to say, I'm referring to all the blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice that the civil rights movement made against, oppression or whatever. But the reality, the real message she was sending was, go out there and crack some heads.
Well, and here's the thing. She can use that defense, and that defense may be fine, but when all of a sudden 2 or 3 Trump supporters get killed by these anti-Trump rioters, that's going to be real hard to defend.
And you know what? Let me go ahead and give look, just to be intellectually fair here. Okay. Look, there's a lot of people that are anti-abortion, and there's a lot of people that are quote pro-life, and there's a lot of people that maybe their position is they want that kind of choice to be between a person, a woman, and her doctor, but they don't want the federal government paying for it. There's all kinds of spectrums of this, which is fine. And I'm because most people that probably listen to us tend to be probably more conservative. But here's the thing: when Eric Rudolph went around, started setting off bombs, nobody wanted to have any part of that. When people are shooting doctors through their living room windows with rifles, assassinating people, nobody wants any part of that bullshit. All of a sudden now, the FBI is involved, and they ain't playing. They got the machine guns and the helicopters, and they're hunting because this is out of control. And, if you were a buddy of Eric Rudolph, if you were a buddy of somebody, they're like, oh, yeah. Now, all of a sudden, now you're caught with the short straw, and you're basically now hanging out with freaking terrorists. And, it's the same thing is coming for the left on this, in my opinion. I agree. We're going long on this, but I guess we'll go ahead. It's the 800-pound gorilla hanging over the podcast. Today it's March 7th. It's 10:30 in the morning. Do you think the federal government wiretapped Donald Trump? Yes or no?
Yes.
I think they did too.
Okay, here's the thing. Do I think it was like Nixon recording everything in the Oval Office? No. But the truth is, you have oh God, how to word this correctly without sounding like an idiot. Okay. You have the lefts talking about, okay, like the whole Flynn thing. Okay,
that's a good place to start. Okay. That's a very good place to start.
No, seriously.
No, okay. It is.
They're like, okay, Flynn did this. Flynn, he talked to this. They're coming out with all this bullshit. Well, how did they get that stuff? Fucking wiretapping.
Yep. So and Paul Manafort, how did they get that stuff?
So if do I have proof that they wiretapped Trump personally? No, I don't. But if they wiretapped Flynn, if they didn't wiretap Flynn, they would not have had that information.
Okay, I will. There's probably people screaming at the computer right now. The defense that the government's going to have on Flynn is that it is standard procedure to run surveillance on foreign diplomats. So their argument, their out is, we weren't wiretapping Flynn, we were wiretapping the Russian ambassador, because that's pretty much standard procedure. But there are rules in place. There are big rules in place where if you record American citizens in these types of wiretaps, it has to be destroyed, and you're not allowed to listen to it and all this. But, and the thing is, Trump's got them in a trap, because they're like, they think this, they know this, they think this, they know this, and now Trump's like, you were bugging the Trump Tower, and now they're all like, no, we didn't. And there's even been headlines coming out now. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has any connection with the Russians, because they realize they're caught. Trump, I think, is probably a genius on this. And look, I don't know if they're going to be able to prove it. I don't know if they did it through a FISA court or whether they did it extrajudiciously. But in my heart, I know they tapped his shit. And everybody knows it.
Yeah, they did. And the thing is, they can spin it however they want. They're basically, at the end of the day, they're screwed on this.
And here's the bottom line. They're all trying to spin against it. They know for a fact that the Justice Department went to a FISA court and they tried to get a warrant that had Donald Trump's name on the warrant, and the FISA court turned it down. The point is, there's your proof right there. It's not like this is totally just made up.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day,
they wiretapped this shit, and that's scary.
Sure they did, and they're going to get burned for it. And look, the truth is, if they weren't on this big, huge witch hunt to crucify Donald Trump, none of this shit would have come out, and it would have all just been dusted over, and everything would have been fine. But the more they try to hang Donald Trump, the more they're hanging themselves.
And you know that in this case, that is entirely possible, because they may have gone too far this time. I mean, if this story turns into the Democratic version of Watergate.
Oh, dude.
I mean, here's the thing. Look, Obama has gotten a pass on Lois Lerner and the IRS. Obama has gotten a pass on Eric Holder and Fast and Furious. Obama has gotten a pass on so much stuff that if it now basically turns into that they were basically taping Trump and trying to basically interfering with the election, you know, which is the whole thing they've been basically kind of complaining on, you know, and there was this whole argument that they made against the FBI about, we have this rule that like 60 or 90 days out from an election, that the Justice Department doesn't do X, Y, or Z so they don't unfairly affect the political whatever. You know, that argument's totally gone too. And you and I I skipped Hillary in their server. You and I had a big argument 4 or 5 years ago about Eric Holder going to jail.
Oh yeah, we did. And you were right.
And I told you, and I said, guys like Eric Holder don't go to jail. However, if this story turns, if this thing turns into Obamagate or whatever they're trying to name it, and the narrative changes, it's going to reopen all of those abuses. And I'm telling you what, Eric Holder, you're hearing it from me first, Eric Holder hasn't been in so much jeopardy legally than he is right now. Because this story, if this thing gets legs and it turns, and they start doing deep dives and abuses of power, especially out of the Justice Department. It's the same department, dude. Eric Holder, FISA
Eric
court.
Holder's, he's still not going to jail.
I'm telling you what, this could turn on him.
It could turn on him, but here's the thing. I think Eric Holder, I mean, as much as, and you're right, we had this argument many years ago. I swore up and down he was going to jail. You swore up and down he wasn't. Well, Eric Holder's still not in jail, and he's got a job with the state of California. Yeah. But the truth is, Eric Holder knows where a lot of bodies are buried. And even if this turns sour on Eric Holder, I think Eric Holder will take care of Eric Holder, and he'll turn state's evidence. He'll cut a deal. He'll dime on whoever he needs to dime on, but Eric Holder's still not going to go to jail.
Yeah, you know, he's not going to go to jail, but he could end up facing charges. And then, you know, whatever, gets disbarred. He's going to be like Bill Clinton, get disbarred, plead it out,
you get disbarred, whatever, because he's not practicing law in court anyway. He's beyond that.
He is practicing law on behalf of the state of California, the job you mentioned, but anyway.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Here's the thing. You can still be disbarred and hold that job. You just have attorneys do the actual court shit for you.
I actually don't. I don't think you're allowed to, because practicing law is still like being involved in the process. I'm pretty certain that a bar association doesn't allow that to happen.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. You can be a non-attorney consultant.
Okay, you know what? You're right. Consultant, yes, but I don't know if you're allowed to produce any paperwork. So, yeah. Okay,
you know what? You hire a whole staff of attorneys that can produce the paperwork for you.
You know, that's called the Supreme Court. You think those guys write those opinions?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, you're right. Okay, all right. Well, this wraps up episode 56 of the John 1911 podcast, and kind of a salty podcast. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I'm still pissed off about the video.
It's a salty time.
I'm still pissed off about the video, but So anyway, this wraps up episode 56 of the podcast. If you want to give us feedback or rating on iTunes, please do so. Visit our blog page, john1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Special considerations to our audio engineer, Mitch, at A&M Promotions. Do I have that right? Just remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun, and everybody have a good day.
See you later.